The crystalline spires of the Valorian council chamber reflected the light of 7 suns, a monument to 3,000 years of galactic peace. Elsa stood at the observation deck of the research station orbiting Valoria Prime, her neural interface processing streams of data that would have overwhelmed an unaugmented mind. The readings made no sense. Something massive had just appeared at the system's edge, bypassing every sensor grid as if they were children's toys. "Impossible," she whispered, her fingers dancing across holographic displays. The object's energy signature was unlike anything in the xenoarchaeology databases. It wasn't Valorian, wasn't Crithian, wasn't any of the 47 known spacefaring species. The electromagnetic spectrum screamed with patterns that seemed almost deliberate. Across the void, on the bridge of what the galaxy would soon learn to fear, Commander David Harper watched the same star system through eyes that had seen too much war. The bridge of the UHSV Retribution hummed with restrained power, its quantum processors running combat calculations at speeds that would liquefy organic neural tissue. Around him, his crew moved with the precision of those who had trained in Earth's gravity wells, their enhanced physiology a testament to centuries of human adaptation to warfare. "Stealth field disengaged, Commander," his tactical officer reported, her voice steady despite the magnitude of what they were about to do. "All weapons systems are hot. Temporal displacement drives at standby." David nodded slowly, his augmented eyes reviewing the intelligence one final time. 3 months ago, the Valorian hegemony had glassed New Kepler, a human colony world of 2 billion souls. The diplomatic channels had delivered their response. Humanity was too primitive, too aggressive, too dangerous to exist in civilized space. The vote had been unanimous among the council species. Humanity would be contained, then eliminated. They had made one fatal miscalculation. They had assumed humanity would negotiate. On the research station, Elsa's blood turned to ice as her systems finally identified the vessel. "Oh God," she breathed, her hand trembling as she activated the emergency broadcast. "It's human. That's a human warship." The galaxy knew of humanity, of course. The violent primates from Sol 3 who had clawed their way into space through chemical rockets and nuclear fire. A species so fractious they had nearly destroyed themselves a dozen times before achieving faster-than-light travel. The Council had studied them, found them wanting, and passed judgment. What the Council hadn't known, what Elsa was only now realizing with creeping horror, was that humanity's internal conflicts had forged something the galaxy hadn't seen in millennia. A species that understood total war at a fundamental, almost genetic level. The Retribution began its approach, sublight engines pushing it to 0.95 C in seconds. David watched the tactical display as the Valorian defense fleet scrambled, their ships beautiful and elegant, designed more for ceremony than combat. 3,000 years of peace had made them soft. "Status on the antimatter reserves," David asked quietly. "Sufficient for complete planetary sterilization, sir. Though, Commander, there are 14 billion sentients on Valoria Prime." David's jaw tightened. They killed 2 billion of ours, and they voted to kill 12 billion more. He looked at the view screen, at the gleaming planet that had sentenced his species to death. "But we're not them. Target military installations and government centers only. Civilian casualties are to be minimized." The first Valorian battle group arrived, 300 ships strong, their plasma cannons charging with the combined output of small stars. They fired as one, a barrage that could vaporize moons. The Retribution's gravitational shields bent spacetime itself, creating a pocket of altered physics where the laws of thermodynamics bowed to human engineering. The plasma dissipated harmlessly, energy bleeding into alternate dimensions through quantum tunneling mechanisms the Valorians couldn't begin to comprehend. "Return fire," David ordered. "Kinetic penetrators, relativistic speeds." What followed wasn't a battle, it was a demonstration. The Retribution's railguns accelerated tungsten rods to 99% light speed. When they struck, the Valorian shields, designed to deflect energy weapons, might as well have been paper. Ships didn't explode. They simply ceased to exist, converted to superheated plasma by the sheer kinetic energy transfer. On her station, Elsa watched in numb horror as the defensive fleet evaporated. Her people, the Valorians, had been the peacemakers of the galaxy for longer than human civilization had existed. They had never imagined that peace could make them vulnerable. "Please," she transmitted on all frequencies, her voice breaking. "Please stop. We'll negotiate, we'll." "Negotiation time has passed," David's voice came back, cold and mechanical through the translation matrices. "You had 3 months to reconsider. You chose annihilation. We're simply delivering what you ordered." The Retribution descended into Valoria Prime's atmosphere, a god of war wreathed in fire. Its targeting lasers painted the council chamber, the military command centers, the orbital defense platforms. Each weapon system represented technologies born from centuries of human conflict: fusion warheads, antimatter torpedoes, weaponized nanites, quantum disruptors. Elsa initiated her station's emergency protocols, broadcasting the warning across every quantum channel she could access. "To all species of the Galactic Council, humanity is not what we believed. They are not primitives. They are a warrior species that has spent 10,000 years perfecting the art of killing. We made a mistake. We." The transmission cut as the first antimatter warhead detonated in Valoria Prime's upper atmosphere, a miniature sun that carved a message into the planet's surface visible from orbit. A warning in every major galactic language. "We sought peace. You chose war. This is mercy." David watched the tactical display as the Valorian government centers were systematically neutralized. Precision strikes, surgical and devastating. The kind of operation only a species that had fought itself across centuries could execute. When it was done, the Valorian military capacity had been reduced to 0, but the civilian population centers remained intact. "Broadcast on all council frequencies," David commanded, his voice heavy with the weight of what had just transpired. "This is Commander David Harper of the United Human Space Vessel Retribution to the Galactic Council. You voted to exterminate humanity because you deemed us too violent for civilized space. You were correct about one thing: we understand violence in ways you cannot comprehend, but we also understand restraint. Valoria Prime still stands. Its people still live. That is more mercy than you showed New Kepler." He paused, letting the words sink across light years. "Humanity withdraws from council space. Any species that follows us, any fleet that crosses the Sol exclusion zone, will learn what we are truly capable of. We seek peace, but we will not beg for it." The Retribution engaged its temporal displacement drives, vanishing from Valorian space as suddenly as it had appeared, leaving behind a galaxy that had just rediscovered what it meant to fear. On her station, Elsa stared at the wounded planet below, understanding with terrible clarity that the age of peace had ended. Humanity had been judged and found wanting. In response, they had judged the galaxy in return. And the galaxy had been found wanting as well.